Okay, well, hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Tech Tip Tuesday. Here it is, January 17th, 2023. Woo, halfway through the first month of the year. What a beautiful time of life, right? 2023. My name is Ken Close. I am an engineer as well as part of the Healy World Board for the USA. And I am joined by my lovely co-host tonight, Carla Bill. Thank you so much for coming and joining me tonight. Welcome, welcome. In the background, we have a customer service agent tonight. Christian is joining us, everybody. So please give him a hello and a healthy, wealthy welcome in the back chat room. So you guys that are new, let me tell you how this works. Tech Tip Tuesday is a chat-based forum where we bring our technical issues, some questions you might be having, some operational concerns or challenges, whatever's going on, put those things in the chat and we will do our very best to unpack those mysteries and solve them for you. Sound fun? What we can't do is we can't diagnose, treat, prevent, or talk about any diseases or special things that the Healy does as far as the body itself. So be sure that there are resources for that. We just can't talk about that stuff on this call. So without further ado, why don't we get this party started, Carla? And let's see who's got some questions. How about that? If you guys are brand new, just coming on, if you would, please mute yourself so we got a nice, good recording for everybody. Okay. Laura says, wow, I'm actually early in New Mexico. Hey, welcome, Carla. Welcome, Laura. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. So here's our first question. So last week I was talking about EMF protection systems when using the Healy. Some people are concerned that this includes the shugnet, it's a crystal, the pendants, bracelets, that kind of things. Could you please clarify? So here's what I want you guys to understand. Healy is a frequency transmitter. Okay, it sends frequencies. And I think what some of the dilemmas are is that that all frequencies, or I should say all EMFs are not good. An EMF is electromagnetic force. That's what a frequency is. Okay, so that's what Healy transmits is EMF. Don't get the word, or I should say the phrase EMF stuck in some kind of negative connotation, because all it does is it specifies a specific energy transmission medium. That's it. EMF. It's a magnetic frequency specific wave. It's a very specific wave, and the wave pattern is at a frequency, and Healy generates said frequencies or such frequencies. So when we wear devices that block all frequencies, or when it blocks a certain spectrum, if Healy is transmitting a frequency within the spectrum of the devices you're wearing that blocks it, you will not receive it. It's essentially nulled. It's like you've turned the volume down on the radio. Okay. So these are just, I get it. Some people are very, very sensitive and concerned. But if you're trying to solve some biological thing, or align some biological energy with the body, and you're using Healy to do so, you need to allow the Healy system to do so by opening the door or getting rid of the blocks. So I would highly recommend that you understand what frequencies that your devices are blocking. All right. And then we know that when we watch the screen of our Healy, it shows the frequencies that's being transmitted, and you can compare them. If those frequencies are within the spectrum of your blocking devices, you're not going to receive them. Okay. So again, I don't dissuade anybody from any of the devices or things they use to protect themselves or to promote their health. Just know that this is the scientific guidelines, or I should say criteria, in which we're sending transmissional or vibrational energy, aka magnetic energy, from Healy. And if we're putting our bodies in some kind of a box or a blocking system, it's not going to get through. Okay. All right. What else we got?
Can I use the coil instead of wristbands or sticky pads?
Can I use a coil instead of a wristband or sticky pad? So when we're talking about instead, yeah. I mean, the coil itself, its purpose is to take the energy, the current flow. Okay, so out of the ports in the Healy, the positive and negative ports of the Healy, where you hook the wristbands or the wires to the device and then hook to the wristbands or sticky pads. When you're running current flow out of the Healy, the current flow is simply or what we call a microcurrent, is simply the carrier, or let's call it the pail, the bucket that the water is carried in, or the frequencies are carried in this microcurrent. And that's what's being transmitted out of the Healy, is this microcurrent through those ports in the bottom of the Healy. And those are then transmitted into the body via the wristbands or sticky pads. Now, we have a system of replacing that process with the coil. You plug the coil in, it plugs into the same ports that you would normally have the wires. And now it converts that electron flow, or that current flow, that microcurrent, it converts it into a magnetic wave. Now, just like I was talking about before, it converts it into EMF, electromagnetic force. Again, don't make that a bad word, but that's the waveform in which it's being transmitted. It's the way in which it gets out of the Healy circuitry and into the free space of the environment, so that it can then be absorbed by your body. So you can use either. If you're thinking about it, if you're wearing some sort of frequency blocking systems, then the coil system is also going to be blocked the same way, if it's within those frequency spectrums that your devices are blocking. But that's the two modalities, one of the two modalities, the coil or the wristbands and the wires, to transmit that information, or the frequency information, into the human body. All right, that's actually one of three, by the way. We've talked about extensively about the third one, which is essentially sending information into your field, your bioenergetic field, your field of information, and that's through the resonance or the aura program module. There was a question just before that one, Carla. It says, are there more in-depth descriptions of the programs available in the owner's manual? The 40-some page owner's manual is accessible through your app. You can go into the information section under the settings of your app, and there is access to the owner's manual. That gives the most in-depth descriptions of the programs that are available today. Now, Healy is constantly evolving and improving the content. Also, I recommend you go to our Healy Academy that you can access through your back office. You can log in there and take a look at the Academy. A lot of great information in there. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, there's just a coil question that's real quick to answer down below. Where does the coil need to be? Touching your skin? Does it matter if it's next to your skin? So a real quick description of where to put that coil.
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, the transmission range of, I should say, what's classified as maximum transmission range of the coil is about 1.5 meters, maybe 4 feet, 3 feet diameter, a sphere. So think about a 3-foot diameter ball. Is about the maximum effective range. It'll go further than that. I'm just saying that that's the maximum that they're testing for effective range. And so you put it on the body. You can clip it to your pocket, your collar, your wrist, your waistband, something like that. If you're running a program that is, say, regional specific, something around the mental programs or something around pain, put the device in the local areas where you're trying to address. It's going to be the closest proximity. So that's the coil's design. Another part two to Nancy's question is, What's Up Wednesday still happening? Yes, there was a 2-week break from the What's Up Wednesdays. We did have last week's call, and we'll have one tomorrow. So tune in, and the recordings are on the YouTube page. Okay. And it looks like Kristen put his the content on there for the YouTube page access. You can see it in the chat, everybody.
Is it possible to connect Healy 2 to HealAdvisor without deleting Pink app?
I don't see that one. I'm still up here a bit higher where it, let's
Go
see.
down right below is What's Up Wednesday still happening.
Okay. Read it again because I'm not seeing it.
Is it possible to connect Healy 2 to HealAdvisor without deleting Pink app?
Healy 2 to HealAdvisor. Okay, so Healy 2, the app that's right here above my shoulder, that's called Healy 2 app. It's essentially exactly the same function as the Pink Dot app. It's exactly the same. Okay, so when you load the Healy 2 app, this one right here on my shoulder that I'm pointing to, you can delete the other one. You no longer need it. And both of these apps always operated independently of the HealAdvisor, and the HealAdvisor will link and operate independently either one of these. So, so you can delete the Pink Dot app, and the new Healy 2 will still link through the HealAdvisor and do all the stuff that the other one did. Same. We're going to do it anyway. By the way, folks, the old Pink Dot app is going away. So the sooner you start using the new one, getting familiar with it, interfacing with all of the modalities it had, the better. There is a question here. It said, Julie's asking, can you please explain the Watch and Watch DNA programs, i.e. rigidity, tension, pressure, and the differences between harmony and active? So the Watch programs and the Watch DN, so Watch Digital Nutrition, those are all kind of a standalone little entity that it operates with the watch. So the watch itself is a biofeedback. It measures several different biorhythmic pieces of the body. And then that content is sent into the watch app. And then that watch app interfaces with the HealAdvisor app. And so this is kind of a circular, I don't know, environment, I guess you might say, that could link together. All of those programs that are in there have different purposes that use that biofeedback information from the watch. Now, they are all accessible, and you can utilize them through the Blue Dot app, right? This is the Blue Dot app right here above me. You can use them there without the watch, without the watch app, without the HealAdvisor search app, without any of that. And it's the way that works is if you use one of those databases, either the Watch or the Watch DN, use one of those databases to do a scan on yourself, it'll find programs within that database, frequencies, I should say, within that database that are housed within the programs that you need, that your body needs, okay? And then you can vibrate those through the Blue Dot app into your field. Now, remember, this is the third modality I talked about earlier. This is working through the information field. This is not directly connected to your body or utilizing the coil. This is in the bioenergetic field. Every human, every form of life, every energetic expression in the universe exists in the unified field. And when we use the Blue Dot app, it's using quantum entanglement with the client to then unify or bridge the frequencies that Healy is putting out with the client. And so that the client receives that information non-local, no matter where you are, from the Healy program. And so you're just choosing that database if you decide to. And when you do scans, sometimes those programs show up on the scan, the Watch or the Watch DN those programs show up on the scan that you need something in that realm. That just means that there are frequencies that are housed within those program groups that your body needs. So, okay, if you can't utilize them via microcurrent because you don't have the subscription, then use the blue dot and send them into your field via that method. Okay.
Okay, so Suzanne Harbina has a few MagHealy questions. Do you see hers?
Okay. Let's see.
Can I charge it longer than 1.5 hours? I charged it for several hours, but the green light did not go off, should it? And what do you recommend running programs on, 2 or 3? I ran one program so far. It was energy clearing. The program never went off. Is it supposed to, or do you end it when you feel you've had enough?
So great questions. All these are awesome questions about the MagHealy, and we're all and there's a lot of learning going on about that. And by the way, there's some good stuff in the academy. I highly recommend that you go into that academy and take a look. Also within the MagHealy program, or I should say within the MagHealy app, there's again access to the owner's manual. Now, last week, go back to that recording, because last week actually Jake pulled up a chart that showed how long that each program is designed, or well, is recommended to operate, and at what level of intensity. Okay, so that's some great information, by the way. There's data to support all that, so you can get that chart, you can have it on your smart device or wherever. You can write it all out if you like, but that chart gives very clear information about what programs designed for how long and what intensity. As to the charging, yeah, you can leave it on there longer. I've experienced the same thing. The green light does not go off. Doesn't mean it's not charged. Just means that again, it's run it for. I recommend a minimum of 90 minutes on the charger, and then you can take it off, and the app will show that charge rate or that charge percentage. As for the setting of 1 or 2, 1, 2, or 3. 1 is off, right? 2 just means that those blinky lights are not on. 3 means the blinky lights are on. Okay. So remember that if you've got more lights going off, more battery consumption, the shorter the duration that you're going to be able to operate your MagHealy. You have to charge it more frequently. The lights are great. Indicating that there's information going on. And when you're running some of the McMakin programs, there's 2 colors of lights kind of showing a couple of frequencies. It's kind of cool, but I mean, you don't need it to actually do the function. If you want it to last the longest, run it on setting number 2. Okay.
And then it going off, if you're running an atmosphere program, it's not going to go off. It's until you turn it off.
Right. Yes. Yeah, so like some of those are indefinite. They've got like an infinity little symbol.
Yeah.
The sleep one, is it? What else? Is sleep and environment ones, atmosphere. Yeah. They don't go off. So, and that's explained also within that chart. All right. Margot says, does this mean if we have a blocker on our phones, it will stop the healing? No. So the blocker on the phone, remember the blocker on the phone is essentially just designed for any emissions out of the phone. And we're talking about any blocker on your body, because then that restricts any emissions from everything. Okay. So anything that's on your body is going to put a block around your body for the phone and the Healy and every environmental influence. That's its purpose. So the phone's separate. You're fine. Keep your block on your phone. Won't do anything to the Healy.
Okay, Maria, I know we can only do 3 microcurrent frequencies a day, but can we also use the MagHealy and use the coil with it? Or is it only 3 programs a day with any device?
And that's a great question. And Carla, you've got experience with this, right? I mean, as far as using the MagHealy and the Healy, and various modalities at once. And one of the things, and I'll have you talk about this a little bit, but one of the things I want to just kind of outline here, the microcurrent programs are, of course, the ones we're connected to. The magnetic programs, when we take the Healy programs and convert them to magnetic by using the coil, or the MagHealy, either one, those are, anytime you convert it to magnetic energy, you can run more, right? It's a more subtle input, and your body kind of, I guess, almost weeds out itself. It's its own regulator. But the magnetic frequencies and the MagHealy, you can go more. So Carla, you want to talk about that a little bit?
I'll tell you how I broke all the rules. So 2 days on the 19th, I got my MagHealy 3 years ago. And that was before it came to the United States, and there was no information really. So I just started using it, and I used it nonstop. I could hardly walk on my right ankle. It hurt nonstop. Bone on bone was the prognosis and replacement or surgery. So Ken told me about this thing I didn't understand, but I thought it's cheaper than my deductible, so I'm going to give it a try. Well, 10 days later, I had no pain. I used the Healy way more than anybody has ever recommended it. So I think you just got to listen to your body with the Healy. And I run the MagHealy and the Healy at the same time.
And this is, so remember, this is an individual opinion. Yeah. This is not a corporate opinion. This is not.
No, this is how it worked for me. Again, there had been more information that wasn't in German, I would have followed the rules a little better. But I've been pain-free for 3 years now. So I tell you, it is just the most amazing thing. And make sure you look at my post on today that I made in healing.
That's actually more of a private group too. So I don't know if all you guys are in that, but we have there is some great testimonies also on the frequency experience.
Yeah, I put it there too.
But it's there too. So that's more of a public forum.
My granddaughter burnt her finger, and 3rd degree. I mean, it was all the way through with a hot glue gun, and she's only 7 years old. And in 24 hours, it's almost healed. It's just the most amazing thing.
Remember what we're doing here, guys, is we're taking information, we're taking frequency, we're taking energy to shift and change cellular structures, right? It's microcurrent has been proven and studied since the early 1900s to increase ATP production or energy within the cells, protein synthesis, as well as amino acid transports. It's proven, it's science. And this is why Healy uses microcurrent with the wristbands or the sticky pads to actually increase cell energy. That's its superpower. That's its kung fu, right? Now we're also using the coil to transfer that energy into a magnetic signal, but that's not the highest studied content. There's studies coming out all the time on the information field, more about the magnetic energy influences. And Marcus is doing a tremendous job about some of the studies, and you can actually find these studies too, by the way. But the point is that we're infusing, or I should say we're amplifying some of the cell structures of our body. And again, results may vary. Results will vary based on individuals, but we got some great real stories out there. So Dora has a question about how do we make suggestions about the apps? That's a great question. And within the customer service portal, you can actually make suggestions there. So you submit a ticket, and there's it's got a suggestion tab where you can make suggestions. And Christian would know about that because his team gets that. All right. Let's see. Here's another quick little follow-up question about the MagHealy, and does it hurt to charge before the battery warning comes on? No, but I do recommend that you run a full battery cycle, from full charge to full discharge. In other words, it dies on its own regularly. I like to do that a minimum of 3 times a week, fully discharge it. So you just got to kind of figure out your own timing so you can go ahead and let it discharge all the way through. Maybe, some program that can go that long and actually take the battery all the way down to dead, and then recharge it fully before you use it again. Do that a minimum of 3 times a week, only because this helps the charge cycle to flex its muscle, I guess you might say. And same with the Healy. And this is actually kind of true of most any of your rechargeable devices, but just want to specify that with the Healy and the MagHealy. All right. Another thing about the Healy Watch app program names don't match up with the Healy app names. The Healy Watch has 25 of its own programs. And when you have the Healy Watch subscription, then that update that winds up going into your Healy app, the Healy 2 app, those names should match. Now, Healy's been changing some of the names. So the new Healy app, by the way, just note this in your mind, the new Healy app, what's happening globally is to unify the names of all these apps, because all the programs. Worldwide, there were different names because there were different regulatory agencies that said you could say certain things, and other agencies said you couldn't. So Healy's been diligently trying to figure out, how do we make these all have the same name? Because just think about it this way: if you move from one country to another country and you update your app in that country or that particular, you buy a Healy with under that umbrella, under that country's umbrella, it's going to look different. So they're trying to unify everything. So there's a lot of changes going on right now. And I understand there's going to be some differences in names, even within the Blue Dot app, by the way, folks. So the names are going to be a bit different. So I know it's confusing. It's going to unify. It's happening now. And most of the names that are in this new Healy app 2 are the ones that are going to be across the board. Okay, so take note of those and try to look at the corresponding name that might be different than what's in this Healy 2 app. And I know it might take a little of intuition. Okay. Let's see. Where's this next one? Does anyone know what frequencies that mineral blocks? I don't know what the shungite blocks. I don't, sorry. That's not my specialty. Crystals and minerals are not my specialty. Epigenetics is. Neuroscience. But maybe somebody knows and they can put it in the comments there for Dora. All right.
And
let's see.
The powering of the Healy device have to hard reset every 2 days.
Okay, I have an issue with powering on a Healy device. So I have to hard reset it every 2 days. What can cause it? So there is when you say hard reset, there is a charge cycle reset process that takes about 3 days to do so. Let's see, Christian, maybe he put that process in the chat. I don't know, but there is one. Maybe Christian, if you could put that in the chat.
It works good. I've done 2 Healys with that.
Yeah, it's what happens is sometimes the charge indication on the app and the actual battery life span on the battery itself and the Healy get mismatched, and you can resynchronize that. And there's a process to do so, which is utilizing the reset function and the charge cycle, and about 3 full times of doing so, and it gets back into rhythm. So let's see if we can get that. Just keep looking. I'm sure Christian will get that in the chat for us.
You got Doris,
are you there at which one is it?
My HealAdvisor connects to my pink dot, but the pink dot doesn't work, and I'm not wanting to delete pink dot yet. Is there a way to make HealAdvisor connect to Healy 2? I think you answered that one.
Yeah, it does. It does. So essentially the way that works, the HealAdvisor, it looks for, what it does is it sends the program recommendations essentially to the app. So if the app is not open, so whether it be the old Pink Dot app or the new Healy 2 app, if it's not open, the HealAdvisor essentially has no destination to send the recommendations to, because it kind of automatically sends the recommendation to one of those microcurrent apps, and then you just simply run them from that app, because the HealAdvisor does not actually run any of the microcurrent apps. It's done from another app, from a different program. We're essentially linking or bridging a couple of different modalities so that you can get the advisor analysis, and then that analysis sends information over to the Pink Dot, and the Pink Dot will run the program. It's the Pink Dot or the Healy 2 app is the only ones that can engage the Healy in the microcurrent modality. But that's done through that link. So I'm assuming you're not ready to delete the old Pink Dot. Is that what you're trying to say here? You got to let go eventually. I'm sorry.
I keep telling my husband that. You get rid of it. He won't.
Have
Okay.
faith, trust. Okay.
Is it possible to cancel a subscription to a particular program group? I'm guessing it would be done by submitting a ticket.
Correct. Also, yeah, you could cancel subscriptions even in the HealAdvisor. The HealAdvisor shows all your.
And then at the back office, it actually has subscriptions, and if you go in there, you can cancel them right there.
Yeah. So go into your back office under what is that?
Subscriptions. It just has subscriptions there, and if you just click on that, it will tell what subscriptions you have, and you can cancel it right there.
Yeah, it has a cancel function. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, when
Okay.
we got our professionals.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't have Healy Bluetooth toggle switch on my latest update. My husband has it, but I don't.
Okay, so do you have the firmware 229? I mean, depends on which Healy firmware you have. So if you had it before and you did some kind of update to this new Healy 2, then it's there. It's just not quite so intuitive as to find it. Let me show you. I'm assuming you're talking about this Healy 2 app. Let me show you where the toggle switch is for the Bluetooth. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my phone on live here so we can show you. I can show you what this looks like, and you can go ahead and take a look at it yourself. Let's see. We're going to share the screen. It's not marked the same. Remember the old Healy 2 or the first Healy app, the Pink Dot had the little thing icon at the top of the screen. This one, you actually have to tap on the, let me just show you. I'm going to open it up. Okay. At the top of the screen, there is the battery indicator. You have to tap on the battery indicator, and then it's an active function, an active button. And so you see this more information pops up, tells you your battery life, your serial number, and there's the toggle for turning off the Bluetooth chip. So if you turn that Bluetooth chip off, you just touch that little toggle, it turns it off. It also gives you an instruction there that says, are you sure you want to do this? And to turn it back on, you know that you have to tap the on button on your Healy twice before it reactivates that Bluetooth chip. It kind of gives you a little instruction there so you know how to turn it back on, because if you turn it off and then you go to re-engage with your Healy for a different program or something like that, it won't, because why? Well, you've turned the Bluetooth chip off. It's like turning a light switch off and you're sitting there telling it, turn on. Nope. You gotta do the manual thing. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. So there's that. Oh, great. So I see Christian put that instruction for resetting the battery in the chat. By the way, folks, if you want to save the chat, you can just right there in the little chat next to the chat box. There's that smiley face. Next to the smiley face, there's 3 little dots. Tap on those 3 little dots. And if you're on your PC, then at the end of the call, it'll give you an option to save the chat to your PC. If you're on your smart device or mobile device, you won't be able to do that. So, so hopefully you guys are on a PC and you can do that. Okay. I'm not sure where exactly we are, but here's one from Laura says, what does the alcohol intake and digital nutrition actually mean? I love this one because I just used alcohol intake the other day. Hey, I was on a really hard, stressful project, got it done, had to celebrate with a little song. So anyway, so think about this. The name is, sometimes they're intuitive as to what they do, but alcohol intake, if we've overdone it, if we've got some kind of residuals from the night before, alcohol intake helps to balance the body. That's its design. Any of these microcurrent programs or any of these programs are designed to rebalance the energetic body. So, and digital nutrition does some similar actions, some similar work. Everything within this universe is energy. And to distinguish one form of energy from another form of energy, say whether the chair you're sitting in or the skin cell in your body, to distinguish the difference is done via frequency. That's how we can tell the difference. It vibrates at a different frequency. The chair you're sitting in is a very slow frequency. The skin, perhaps a little faster frequency, but they all have a code. That's their signal. So that we know what that energy is. So does a nutrient, a vitamin, a mineral, an amino acid. All of that is energy vibrating at a certain frequency. And Healy has recorded every single nutrient, vitamin, and mineral within our known realm, and converted that into a frequency that the system, the Healy system, can send into your body. So what it does is digital nutrition simulates, say, vitamin B or zinc or some other nutritional content, and it sends that into the body. And what we're doing is we're essentially exciting or increasing cell receptor sites in the body. We're increasing the energy levels of these particular nutrients. We're increasing bioavailability. So when we do eat our food or do intake our nutrition, that we're increasing the body's uptake. No, you can't not eat. That's not what it's doing here. It's simply increasing or improving the content you do take in and the body's bioavailability, the bridging, the rhythmic bridging between the substance and the body's intake, the cellular intake. It's increasing that, improving that. So, so one in terms of alcohol intake is kind of negating the effects, and the other is increasing the effects. Okay. Not that you can go and drink more. No, not saying that. I'm just saying, I don't recommend that.
It helps in the morning. Especially if you do it at night when you go to bed. I don't use it often, but it's been an occasion.
The morning after remedy, right? Drink water.
Lots of water. Okay, where can we find the time for programs?
The time for programs. Okay, when you, if you're looking at the microcurrent programs that I was just showing you on the app, when you go to choose one of those programs, it tells you this. I'm gonna share my screen again, so I want to kind of demonstrate some of this stuff for you guys. I think it's important that we actually see stuff in real time sometimes, so we can get a kind of another visual. Okay, so let's just run through one of these programs real quick. Okay, here is the Healy 2 app. You see I have them both, the Pink Dot app and the Healy 2 app, but the one I use is the Healy 2 app. Here's all the list of programs. Okay, and if you take a look at the top of the screen, it says that there is a new configuration for your Healy is available now. Do you want to download it? If I tap on that update now, it'll pull some new configuration. What I'm assuming is there's maybe some new names of the programs that's there waiting for me, some updates of some sort, whatever they are. And this automatically pops up for you folks when Healy releases some new information in blocks of, I don't know, sometimes it's like 10,000, but in blocks of a certain number of people, these notifications go out. And so sometimes it takes time when Healy releases a new update for everybody to get it, but it will happen, and you'll see this notification at the top of the screen. Anyway, so let's go back to one of the program groups. Let's go to Gold Cycle, and let's just kind of go through some of the content here. What I want you to see, you see on these Gold Cycle programs at the top right of the corner, there's a little gray icons or letters IMF. IMF stands for individualized microcurrent frequencies, meaning that these programs are optimized for magnetic vibration, aka the coil. That's what they're kind of signifying, that they are definitely designed for that magnetic information. And they do send out with or without the Healy coil, they do send out magnetic frequencies out of the transmitter. So it's also built in. All right, so let's click on one. We'll just click on Pure here. And let's open that up. And now take a look at this. There's information there. The top of the program, top of the page says Pure. And of course, you got the battery indicator on the right side. There is a line there that says maximum program duration, 52 minutes. That's how long that program lasts. Okay. Kind of tells you how you can connect. There's a picture there, shows you, it actually shows you sticky pads, and it almost looks like it's the top of the wrist, right? Just know that this picture means that you could interchange the wristbands or the sticky pads. I only use the wristbands in this particular case because, you know, I've got hairy arms and sticking pads on there. So they don't last very long. It's just not as convenient for me. Wristbands hold on to my active arms, so I'm doing something all the time. So the wristbands work better. So I wet the wristbands, put them on, connect to the electrodes, and I'm ready to roll. Notice that says maximum program duration, 52 minutes. Maximum duration. In other words, Healy has a function of resonance, and it's measuring the resonance of your body when it's sending these frequencies to your body. And when the body becomes fully resonant with one particular frequency, the program kicks that frequency out of the sequence. So if your body becomes resonant with all the frequencies that Healy has chosen for you for the modality of that program, your body becomes resonant, the body's full. And when the cup is full, it runneth over, right? You don't need more than the full cup. So it actually could stop before that 52 minutes. If all of the frequencies have become fully resonant with your body before the end of the program, it'll turn off. All right. This is cool because it just means that Healy won't give you what you don't need. All right. So below that, after the electrodes, it shows you the recommendation for this program is daily. You can run it once a day. And then if there was any polarity significance between on the Healy itself, where you connect the electrodes, there's a positive and negative on those ports. If it was significant to run the positive to the right hand and negative to the left hand, it would be noted here. There is no significance on most of these, on any of them that I've seen. So you don't have to worry about that. All right. You kick on that, you hit that start button. It looks for a Healy. It then transmits, as you see at the top of the page, there's a progress bar, and it tells you what it's doing, transmitting the program to your Healy. Some of these take, 60, 90 seconds at the most. But it sends all that information directly to the Healy memory. It's going right into the memory of the Healy. And so the Healy then can run independently of the app. But it's kind of fun to watch the app because the app gives you all the feedback content. The app is like the monitor, and the Healy is simply the actual activator. It's running. And so now here it goes. It's running. And to see at the bottom of the page, there is a plus and a minus. This is how you control the amplitude of the microcurrent. Okay, the intensity of the microcurrent. You can go down to 0%, which there is no output at all of microcurrent into the body. And you'll see when the amplitude is too low, that there's no conductivity, there's no current flow through the body. So you get this message. It says that a frequency is being generated out of the Healy, right? But no measurable current flow is going through the body. This means is that Healy is actually measuring to see if there's current flow. So this is kind of a checks and balances to find out if you're connected properly, if your body is hydrated properly, and if this electron flow can get through the body, because it's important. Why? Because this microcurrent electron flow is the carrier wave, like I mentioned earlier, for the frequencies addressing specific tissues, organs, cells, or systems of the body. So we need to have that current flow up high enough for that message to go away. And just below the frequency, there's this kind of this fuzzy wave across the screen. Now watch, as I start to increase the intensity at the bottom of the screen, see I'm increasing it 25%. You'll see that waveform in the center of the screen start to get taller. You'll also see the signal, or I should say the circle in the center of the screen by that pause function. You'll see that circle, that little light colored circle getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you got kind of three ways to see that the intensity is increasing. The waveform, the milky cloud that's going across the center of the screen, the circular shadowing outside of the pause function, and then of course the percentage indicator at the bottom of the screen. All that stuff is telling you what's going on here. And now don't increase this to where it's like giving you all kinds of jolts and tingles, and my body's pretty acclimated. I mean, I'm feeling this tingly right now, but I go just to the sensation of feeling it and then back off a couple of clicks so that I don't feel it. And you can see at the center of the screen there that that's the actual frequency being transmitted to my body, 425 hertz right now. But then every 10 seconds it changes, because right now the first phase of this program is kind of an analysis to find out what my body needs for the resonance of this particular program's purpose or pure. Once it finds some frequencies that my body needs, then it's going to lock those in. It's going to send them to me, and then start to measure me for resonance and give me a progress report. So the modality of the pure program is being analyzed right now to find out what frequencies my body would need. And remember, if I'm doing this program and Carla's doing this program at the same time, it's going to find things individual for us. It's not a one size fits all. What my body needs to obtain the purity of this program's purpose versus Carla's will be different. And so you'll see different frequencies, and that's normal. Okay. All right. So that's how that works, everybody. Go ahead and we'll stop sharing.
Okay, here's an important one. How do you use it on a child?
Well, first of all, Healy recommends 18 and above. Okay. Healy recommends microcurrent on children or humans 18 and above. That's just part of it. Now, what you choose to do, what your doctors, your individual healthcare professionals have decided to do, that's your choice. The magnetic energy out of the coil, different story. There's a lot you can do with that. Again, you heard Carla using it in certain ways on age groups. That's her discretion, right? Again, that's her discretion. It's up to the individual's discretion how to use this. But again, the official recommendation is that no one under 18. Okay, that's as much as I want to say about that. All right. Is there a need to re-record a person's vibration if work is being done remotely? I've had this question several times, and there's a couple of ways to look at this. First of all, when we record a vibrational signature remotely or in person, we're designing a quantum entanglement. The information field, look at it this way, the information field has the perfect blueprint of you. Okay, there are no flaws, there are no dissonances, there are no diseases in the information field, the blueprint of you in the information field. This is a high vibrational signal, very pure. Then when you start to lower the vibration of that blueprint, and then start to realize form or matter through a consciousness, aka your belief structures, your mind, now you become a form in space and time, aka this body, this life form, this organic suit, I like to call it. That's taking this pure signal, filtering it through mind, through consciousness, and making it into matter. So Healy's interfacing with that pure signal and bridging it to this organic matter signal and finding the dissonance and sending information to align those back up. All right. So the vibration you record is still based on this tangible matter. So re-recording it sometimes, I don't recommend doing it every week or every day, because how long does it take if you start a new diet for your body to transform? How long does it take if you start a new exercise program for your body to transform? Right? It takes a bit. So I don't recommend you redo your recording very often. But if you feel some significant changes in your body, try re-recording, whether you're local or distant. But once the client record is established, you got to give it time for the tangible matter to start to shift. This tangible matter, this body in space and time, is the end result of all awareness, right? Everything we see here in this present moment is built from the past. We can't destroy this in this present moment. I mean, we can, but it's not destroyed until the next present moment. Okay? It's still here in this present moment. So everything we do in this present moment has an effect on the next and the future. So the body's still kind of a record of the past, if that makes sense, right? 800,000 cells per second are being regenerated inside of you. 800,000 cells per second. But that's all based on the information of the last moment. And then this second, boom, there you are. So do the work now for the proper body in the future. Now, the future is only 1 second away. It's ever only 1 second away. Okay.
Okay. This one's still with the blue dot. What can cause the error message reading information? Oh, I got to go up to it. Do you have to have a pet spark or even get a vibrational sound from a home or building? What if you are trying to help someone that is far?
Yeah, I love that. No, you don't have to get remember, a bark or a sound. Those are great pieces of content within the frequency spectrum of sound vibration. But that's not what Healy's looking for when it's recording a vibration. It's not recording a sound. It's not recording anything other than the informational field of your body. And your body puts out magnetic energy, puts out information all the time. We just, we don't read it. Well, we read other people's information. I mean, how often have you gone and met somebody and you just fell in love with them instantly, or you didn't like them instantly, or you felt something weird when you meet somebody? That's their vibration coming out at you and you're reading it. But when Healy is recording it, it's in the blue dot, in the client record. You're creating a GPS coordinate for that entity, whether it's a building, a pet, a plant, a human, whatever. And each different entity has different records that it wants when it's recording it as a client. If it's a building, it's going to ask you an address. It's going to ask you the year it was built. It's going to look for some tangible piece of information to build the coordinates for that building. Because what's an address? It's how your mail is delivered. It's got a coordinate, right? Same thing with the human body. When you were born, your birth date, where you were born, your logistics, your name, a picture, right? All of this, the gender, all that stuff is content to build coordinates for you. So that in that client record, it's as clear and precise in terms of finding this one entity amongst all entities anywhere in the universe. Okay. So it's important that you put as much content that's accurate in there If it's a building, take the picture. If it's a room, take the picture. If it's a pet, take the picture. You don't need sound though. Okay. Great questions tonight.
I don't know.
Okay.
What can cause the error message reading information for the device failed? Please reconnect. I had this message on Blue Healy app 3 times today.
You know, sometimes you need to put your device in airplane mode. There may be some connectivity issues where the app is trying to utilize whatever data format your smart device is connected to right now, aka Wi-Fi or cellular data transmission. And it doesn't need any of those. It just needs Bluetooth. So sometimes just putting it into airplane mode negates all that digital data network transfer and will clarify the connection between the app and the Healy. So that's one possibility. There's a few. Another possibility is making sure that all of your software is up to date. The latest operating system on your smart device, whether it be iOS or Android, the latest version of the blue dot or pink dot, the app, in other words, what Healy's using. And then making sure you've cycled your smart device off and back on, because once you do an update, it should do it automatically within your hardware. When you do an update, you've noticed probably your phone shuts off and then comes back on. You have to put in your code and all that kind of stuff. But we should do that on a regular basis anyway, because if we've deleted an app, especially these Healy apps, if we've deleted the app and we didn't turn our smart device off, then there's could be lingering content from the old version still within your smart device. So by shutting the app off, it clears the cache and all the links between the CPU of your smart device and the different peripherals. And it allows for a clean run again. So try some of those things I mentioned, updating certain content. In other words, the app version, updating the iOS or the Android operating system, making sure they're fully up to date. Same with the apps, the Healy apps, fully up to date. And then go into airplane mode and connect. Because again, all you need is the Bluetooth, making sure the Bluetooth is on. Okay. Last question here, I think. I'm not sure. Well, we're close to the end of the hour. With a new client, how to record the vibration. With a new client, how to record the vibration. So in that client record, when you're creating that client record, right, you're putting all of their name and their address, and or not their address, but name and birth date and where they were born, that kind of stuff. There's a line item that says vibration, and on the right, there's a little plus button, a little plus. Click on that plus. Now, if you're doing this locally, they recommend that you put the Healy in your hand, and then you click that plus button, and the app runs through the Healy, recording the vibration through the quantum sensor of that individual, and then puts it into that spot. And then within the app, you're going to click on the little check mark at the top right of the corner. I want to make sure that you guys remember this. After you put all the client record information in, you record the vibration. At the top right of the screen on that client record, there's a little check mark. You have to click on that, because that then locks it all in to the app. If you don't do that, you got to start over. Okay. So just remember you're doing that. If it's a remote client, what I do is I don't hold the Healy in my hand. I actually literally will take the Healy and I will, if I'm doing it remotely, I like to do it over Zoom, by the way. I'll take the Healy and I put it in the screen like this. I don't touch it. I just hold it out there in space. And I put my attention on the client, and I have the client put their attention on the present moment. And then we record the vibration. And what you're doing is, think about this. You're creating a quantum entanglement with what? With the client. The client's quantum entanglement with themselves, your quantum entanglement with them, and Healy already has all the client information for the coordinates. So it's already quantum entangled with the client. You're just building a pure vibrational signal, and you can do it anywhere on the planet, anywhere in the universe. It's pretty cool. Okay. So I just don't hold the Healy in my hand. I just let it be out there in free space. And I hold it like this. I have it clipped to the back of a pin. You can do however you want, but the point is you're putting the quantum entanglement, the focus on the client, and the quantum science does the rest. Okay, we got to go, guys. Sorry, I love this. Thank you for all your great questions, and I'm so happy that you were here, Carla, and Christian in the background helping us all out here. But last question, I like this real quick. Dor says, would that work with the neighbor's dog that barks constantly? I love this question. I'm telling you what, I have put a flight. I've been on an airplane, and I made the flight my client on my Healy Blue Dot and sent out the needs for that flight. And then I vibrate whatever frequencies, whatever programs it's asking for throughout the flight. And I've had crying children quiet themselves, that find peace and harmony, and the whole flight goes amazing. So definitely put the neighbor's dog as a client, and then find the alignment and the harmony with that pet and see what happens. And then you can run those signals constantly with your Healy out into that quantum entangled pet, that neighbor's dog. I love it. Hey, try it out, Dor. Come back next week and tell us how it went. All right, guys. I love you guys. Thank you all for being here. What a great episode tonight. Awesome questions. Remember how to save the chat. If you want to save the chat, click on those little dots, save it at the end of the call. It'll pop up and you can rename it and put that file anywhere you like. Carla, love you, girl.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. I always love them.
I love them too. Thank you for being here. Good night, everybody.